Hello there, welcome to Joy News. Today coming up, shops, schools and markets closed in the central regional town of Fete as traditional warriors enforce curfew imposed as a result of the death of the Fete chief.
There's serious hunger in the area due to this lockdown. We can't sell our things because land guards are all over the place. So
as residents scramble for food and other supplies in the wake of the lockdown, we will be live in the community. And on the classroom project, we hear from some parents and pupils at Breman Jamera who are sitting on tenterhooks over fears of an imminent collapse of the DA Basic School there.
My name
is Gift Jojo. Our school building is in a bad shape.
More as they await your help to reconstruct that weak school block. Also, churches against LGBTQ plus community are like the Pharisees. That's mother of transgender singer Jabs. More from that exclusive engagement on Joy Prime Morning. We have business, sports, world news, and show business all coming up in this hour. My name is Mama Vio Swabwade. Thanks for staying with us. Now, scores of residents of Gomoa Fete within the Gomoa East districts of the Central Region are scrambling for food and other essentials after traditional authorities there ordered a ban on commercial activities. The ban, which began Thursday, October 14, is to allow for the conduct of the final funeral rites of the late chief of the town, Nana Aboyamwa II. Trading activities are grounded as all shops in the market remain locked. Some residents bearing the brunt of the ban spoke to Joy News while impressing on the traditional authority to lift the ban.
things have become very difficult in this area. We are not allowed to sell or even buy food to eat. All the sellers have been asked to close their shops, so we are asking them to come to our aid. Some of us don't know about it. From Thursday to Monday is too much.
Thursday, Monday, the Anoya de Maya, or Monteso Maya.
There's serious hunger in the area due to this lockdown. We can't sell our things because land guards are all over the place. So a lot of our food stuff are getting rotten.
More than 50 in the Guno. So over then, Asemi, Ama, Indra, woman be of far salmon. Salmon no autumn we no sack of farm. I'm not to no crap and be no DBC. We did 20 minutes in answer. And then my mobile motor no motor had it. Into Ama or how need a febimu or how need a febimu or quarry or how need a febimu. Into Momon TV and Amo Yebi Fawa and Kai Ebedamas.
Camp, I say, I see a camp, I say. No, baby, I have him. Yes, see my MP.
The area is very quiet with little activity. We can't go anywhere. There's no money to even rent a place. The market is in a bad state. There is nothing here.
Two sides here into Amanyama airport or Capre crowd back of Hindine, poor being we say we had that for Hindine. Not a who children a banu. There be a who children getting Saturday. Where would you be a old quahin? Market aqua and your papia, who Tonyama, and no qua Uba market in Yashi. Yes, yes, or more how I know. Market, I say, Bibia say.
Some parents at Breman Jamera are sitting on tenterhooks for fear of another disaster which would claim the lives of their children who are learning in very deadly school blocks. Memories of the 6 kg pupils killed 4 years ago when their school building collapsed on them will not let them sit and look on for a second incident. As for the pupils, the cracks in the walls and the eroded foundation of their classroom blocks are enough to discourage them from going to school on a daily basis. It is for these reasons the pupils and parents are intensifying their appeal to you to support them reconstruct their school block under the classroom project. Some of them have been speaking with Joy News.
Offer me gift to Odro. Your school dining, your papa. My
name is Gifty Odro. Our school building is in a bad shape. There are deep cracks weaving through our blackboards. When our teachers write on the board, we can't even see the letters clearly. We desperately need your help.
Your school down so pono ache matidi sidini mpua ebu your school down ache sieno ti se mo ambo bia mbo en your school down ache pa
but from Asha Abudulai me back and kwala na na dwigu won so no.
My child was one of the children that died that day after the school building collapsed. I recall that morning when I was bathing her. She said, "Mommy, I don't want to go to school today." I told her I was going to the farm and wouldn't get anyone to take care of her. I didn't even go to the farm anymore. I was home when I received information that the school building had collapsed on my child. Oh, in fact, I was very sad. She was 5 years old and my only daughter. She always said she wanted to be a doctor. I have been to the school and it is still in a bad state. I don't want this incident to happen again. So we are appealing to everyone to come to our aid. My name is Naomi Ijakwa. School building is dilapidated, so we are appealing for a new school block so we can concentrate on our learning. When it rains, we can't even learn. My name is Isiapia. I support the classroom project. We don't want that accident that made us lose our children to occur again. We have a DA school, which is also in a bad state. I'm appealing to everyone to support the classroom project so we can get a new classroom block.
So for all the cement bags, iron rods and chippings you can support send your Momo transaction to the number on your screen, 059-3038-832, or to Access Bank account number, which is also on your screen, 009010105419. The bank branch code is 009 and the SWIFT code is ABNGHAC. Alternatively, you can also reach us on 0302-211-680 for more. The Classroom Project, promoting social justice. Now, a pastor's wife and mother of a transgender singer, Araba Forsing, has expressed her disgust at churches rallying behind the passage of the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill into law. According to her, denominations who mount opposition against LGBTQI+ have failed in their duty to show love as Christ instructed. She's been speaking on Joy Prime Morning.
I see them like the Pharisees.
You see them like the Pharisees?
The Pharisees and the Sadducees. Kill him, kill them, because they couldn't do their job.
Which is what?
They said Christ came to seek and save the lost. He came for sinners. and he loves sinners. So if Christ loves sinners, where is that love for these people? If they say they are sinners, okay, Christ has given them the authority to cast out devils. And so if these people are devils, where is their authority Christ has given them? Which means they are nothing. They are not doing their work as a Christian. And they are not being able to, I don't know how to put it. They don't have that authority that Christ has given them. They don't have it. That power.
You mean they don't have the moral right to criticize?
They have no right to criticize. Because theirs is to save. Preach the gospel to save the sinner. But when someone comes to your church and you condemn the person, do you want the person to come again? No. You don't want them to come. And some of them, their parents are pastors like mine. And their parents reject them. They will insult them in the church, humiliate them. Have they come down to their level to know them? To know why they are like that? To at least share the word of God and show them love? No. But rather they are hiding behind the government, to push the government to cover their shame.
To cover their shame?
Their shame.
So
and I'm ashamed.
Their shame in the sense of?
Their shame in the sense they couldn't do what they couldn't access the power God has given them. They couldn't use that power to save the sinner.
Away from that, the Federation of Muslim Women's Association of Ghana has called for the early completion of the Amman from Prisons Rehabilitation Center in the Ashanti region to aid in the proper reintegration of inmates into society. Construction of the project began some 7 years ago but has been left to rot under bad weather. It is also a breeding ground for reptiles and other small creatures. The Federation believes completion of the center will equip inmates to be useful to society. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
It will take quite a lot of people because putting all the units together at any time, any point in time, you have not less than 50 inmates being engaged in the vocational training at any point in time. So as they come and go.
Authorities say they relied on corporate bodies, including the Catholic Church, and donations over the years to start the project. The project is about 50% complete, but there are no more funds to complete it.
So far, the total
Commander at the Manfom Camp Prison, Assistant Director of Prisons Francis Yelpo, says the completion of the center is of paramount interest to the prisons.
That we may do warehousing of the inmates. Somebody comes in for 5 years, he stays here. At the end of the 5 years, he goes out. He hasn't learned any new thing. But if we have this in place, before you come out, you would have developed interest in something, if not agric, farming of crops and rearing of animals. You have a vocational skill that you have the interest that you can train in.
ADP Yelpo says authorities are working relentlessly to change the narrative by not only housing people but also training them to learn a trade. He calls on individuals, religious organizations and philanthropies to assist them complete the project.
Soliciting for support, individuals, churches, or any organization that can support us. If we get any form of support, we are not interested in the money per se, but materials. Because at times people are not convinced that you use the money for the purpose it has been donated. But we are saying, come with the materials for us. We have the men who will work with the materials.
We return to our earlier story in Gomoa Fete, where traditional authorities there have placed a ban on commercial activities. My colleague Manuel Kranting is standing by in the community with more. Manuel, how many communities are first of all affected by this ban, and what's the situation currently?
From Gomoa, Kakraba, to Budumburam, Gomoa Fete, and its adjoining communities. All of these are affected. And what you can currently see in your shot is the entourage of the traditional council of the Gomoa area. Now, they are indeed now processing onto the funeral ground where the final funeral rites are currently underway. Indeed, the entire township is almost on a lockdown because commercial activities have been banned. What we've learned is that all the markets within the jurisdiction of the Gomoa Traditional Council have been shut down. Schools have been shut down, and people have been asked to limit their activities in terms of movement and so on and so forth within the jurisdiction. Indeed, this is essentially impacting on the availability of food and other essentials to the residents within the area, particularly for those of them who are not within the main Gomoa township where the funeral and burial rite are actually taking place. I'll just speak to the secretary of the Traditional Council here, who's going to respond to a few of the issues that have come up as regarding the directive for the ban. Grateful said that you could speak to us here on Joy News today, sir. I know, and indeed we've heard that you gave a prior notice to the residents within the jurisdiction, but the impact is that some of them, especially for those in Budumburam and other areas where their lives are actually on the go, they need to buy food and so on and so forth, they're not getting access to those. What were the contingencies and the arrangements really for this 4-day period?
Thank you very much, my brother. We gave notice, but unfortunately, I think then people are misinterpreting what we said in our notice. Food vendors are not among. Those who sell food are not among. They can go ahead and sell their food. And pharmacy shops, chemical alliances shops, those ones can go ahead and do their businesses. But with a little of those who have different shops, those who have anything that it doesn't cooperate with what I said, and that those ones are you should totally shut down. So that
for the purposes of this interview, and indeed those who are watching and hearing of this particular directive for the very first time, just rehash the directive for us. So which areas and which shops, which activities are affected?
Oh, okay. Areas, villages under Gomoa Fete, village like Gomoa Budumburam, Gomoa Tuansa, Gomoa Kwantanai, Gomoa Fete Kakraba, Gomoa Kojoku, Gomoa Bantama, Gomoa Nyanyano Kakraba, Gomoa Abra, Gomoa Ojo, Gomoa Akuti Banchiase, all those areas are affected. So those.
What can we do and cannot do in those areas?
The moment we lay Nana Bori Amwa in state, since yesterday morning, all activities like drumming, noise making, those who sell different things apart from food, those who have mechanic shops, all those shops supposed to close down, even schools. That we should give respect to Nana Bori Amwa for his last respect. As we are saying this, from yesterday, Thursday morning, up to today in the night, midnight, that he will join his ancestors. Those activities supposed not to go on until we bury him. So the moment we bury him, from Sunday morning, all those activities can go on. They can go around doing their own businesses.
But tell me, there was a caution that the warriors of the Traditional Council may invade shops and others that flouted directive. What was the arrangement in, clamping down, or if you like, preventing excesses, as we've seen in other areas, really?
Yes, the thing that is the most reason why we gave notice for. Even the notice went around for about 2-3 weeks now, and the moment they enter there, because we the chiefs are not there to control them, that is why we gave notices that shut down those places. The moment they enter there and they see that you have opened it, anything there they will take it. Those who rear animals, that they have not killed their animals. Any animal that we see moving around, they will take it. Okay. When they take it, you are not getting it back. They will even slaughter it in front of you. I see. They will slaughter it in front of you.
What happens after the slaughtering?
After the slaughtering, we take it to the palace. Okay. That's Afumba who use it. Okay. So the moment Asafumba jumps into your village and they see that the notices that we gave, if you are fluctuating it, they will go ahead and enter into your shop. Anything that they see over there, they will take it.
Okay, great. So for now, there's not been any incident like that, correct? Can you confirm to me?
For now, we have not experienced anything, but those animals, we've gotten some. Yesterday, at least about 10 to 15 animals were slaughtered.
Grateful, sir. And that's Nana Egdodu. He's secretary of the Gomoa Traditional Council, speaking to me about the arrangements for the final funeral and burial rites for the late Nana Abo Yamwa II, whose funeral rites started yesterday and will be completed on Sunday. And so you've heard from him, there are some exempt categories which he's just clarified. And so that is indeed the situation here at Gomoa Fete. Mama, if you can hear me, back to you.
Manuel, so for those residents who are complaining of food, what's the alternative arrangement for them? How are they getting food?
Mama, the secretary just clarified that for food vendors and other essential service providers like pharmacies, licensed chemical sellers, and so on and so forth, those ones fall under what they have, categorized as the exempt categories. And so, indeed, ahead of this particular interview, that didn't seem to have sunk in within the community. And so he's just been clarifying that people who sell food and people who indeed want to buy food can go out and do so without fear of being attacked by the traditional council or the warriors who have been assigned by the traditional council. So for now, that's the clarity that we are getting this afternoon for you.
Yeah, but Manuel, did you see on your rounds, did you see people selling food out there?
Well, Mama V, I can confirm to you that there were not many people who were selling food. In fact, the entire Gomoa Budumburam main market was shut down. The Kakraba market was also shut down. There were a couple of people that I saw, but these ones were actually even selling under the disguise of having clothes. So they sort of were operating something, a semblance of a black market, and they said that they were actually asking for the authorities to allow them to be able to have the laxity to come out and sell their goods. And that this clarity that we're getting this afternoon comes in as quite useful for those people who may not have heard that if they were selling food or they were providing some essential services to the communities that are within the jurisdiction of the Gomoa Traditional Council, they are exempt. And so, yes, we saw a few people selling, but they were selling, they were hiding actually to sell. But now the clarity is that they can go ahead and sell to the people in the community.
And just finally, Manuel, I reached out to the DCE who did not want to come in between this directive and the concerns of the people. Have you picked up anything more from the assembly?
Well, what we know from the Traditional Council is that ahead of this 4-day burial rites, there was a meeting at the level of the District Security Council, and indeed we have a confirmation from the Traditional Council that there's a letter that has been written to the Divisional Police Command to the effect of all the directives that have been issued by the Traditional Council. And so indeed ahead of this, of the start of the funeral rites, there seemed to have been some official communication that we've been told by the Traditional Council But as to whether or not the district assembly, the Gomoa East District Assembly, is currently in the know of the impact of that directive, even before this particular interview we just had with the Secretary of the Traditional Council, that's something that we do not have confirmation of. But we know that there had been prior conversations ahead of the beginning of the funeral rite.
Manuel Krante, we thank you very much for that live updates. Reporting live from Gomoa, and as you heard there, commercial activities completely have come to a stop, with people asking where they could find food, and that's in respect of the chief of the area, whose final funeral rite is being done right now. So 4 days, no commercial activities. Moving on, though, residents living within the Sepe Owusu and Moshi Zongo communities in the Ashanti region are hardest hit by flooding that washed away one side of the approaches filing of the only bridge connecting the two areas. The sub-chief of Sepe Owusu and another pa fears the situation could wane the academic potentials of the children as they either go to school late or stay at home after every downpour. Residents want the bridge to be fixed to curb the situation. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report again.
That has been the nature of the bridge right from the beginning. It is too small that it can't contain all running water when it rains. Therefore, the water overflows into people's houses.
Narrow gully but now turned into large and deep one. Life becomes miserable here whenever there is torrential rain. This bridge was constructed about 10 years ago to help residents cross each side of the communities. Initially, residents used this bridge to each side of the community, but now one side of the approach's filling has been washed away, so no resident can cross to each side of the community when it rains.
When it rains, our children can't go to school and we can't also cross to the other side. We want the government to take a second look at the bridge and reconstruct.
Located between Sepebokrom and Mosizongo, it poses danger to both children and adults. Several children living within the Sepe Owusu and Mosizongo communities bear the brunt as they struggle to go to school anytime it rains.
As you can see, when we experience a downpour, flooding always takes place, which in fact it distracts our attendance of schools. And the water too, as you know, the water is a water of river, so when the water is flowing, it is contaminated. We can't pass through the water. In fact, if you joke, it will even take you away.
It affected us if you're coming to school. Sometimes, if it rains, it will be flooded. You cannot pass unless we went another way before you can go and cross it.
The situation is affecting the academic activities of school children. They lament that some of their mates have dropped out of school.
Some drop out from school due to the water. You miss lessons when you come late, and also being absent from school also it's not necessary. Because of this bridge, I have experienced that most of our students have stopped attending this school and they've dropped out to different schools because of being absenteeism and the rest, and the destruction of the water.
According to residents, about 3 people have lost their lives to severe floods.
It has even happened before, about 2 or 3 times. It always occurs whenever it rains heavily.
Sometimes after saying so no better channel who sometimes last time boy be a penny for 3 days and I'm so much honey to Subasa.
Nana Dapa is the sub-chief of Sepe Owusu Ansa.
This is now a death trap to children and even adults.
Community folks have decided to place stones, ties, and other items to aid crossing, but when the water level is high, it becomes irrelevant.
Each and every day, they make sure that they build some path for us to be able to go. But when it's rain, you won't even see this. All this will be drawn away unless the residents come in to build a path for us to pass on.
Teachers and residents appeal to government, benevolent individuals, and other organizations to come to their aid. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Away from that, let's do some party politics. And former Energy Minister Boakye Jacob has dismissed claims that his monetary contributions during the regional conferences of the NPP is an attempt to induce and court the support of the delegates during the impending flagship race or flag bearership race. According to him, the move is a continuation of a tradition he began some 3 decades ago. The aspiring presidential candidate, since the beginning of the NPP's regional delegates conference, has committed 10,000 cedis to each of the 16 regions. Well, he's not the only one. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has also committed 20,000 cedis to each region and 2,000 cedis to the 275 constituencies. Reacting to the claims of vote buying, the former campaign manager of the NPP said he has no intention of monetizing the race. He spoke to Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
My contribution to this party did not start today. It started way back in 1992. You can ask the likes of Honorable Hackman, who was treasurer then, right? From 1992, I have not withdrawn my hand from this party. So if the party needs something today, and in continuation of the tradition of giving, I give that party. What does it?
And you've committed 10,000 to every region, 16 regions. Is it 10,000 to be just to be specific with the amount?
And what is that? In politics, in the amount of resources required in our politics, what is 10,000 to a region? What is it? The people sitting here, they are T&T alone. You see, what you ought to be looking at is that is this person now, just from yesterday, contributing to the party? I'll say no. I have contributed to this party from its very beginning.
But my suspicion is that we've seen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the vice president, donate 20,000, Alan Chairman to donate 10,000. So that those who have said that clearly the flag bearership race of the NPP would be monetized.
I am not doing. You agree? Forget what others are doing. You're talking to me.
Right.
I am not doing this for any race. Right? Yeah. When I listen to me carefully. In 1992. When I was donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to this party, did anybody ask me what I was trying to influence? We're trying to build a party.
I see. So the upcoming internal race of the party will not be monetized because many said that you are setting the tone.
I will not monetize.
The candidates are setting
I will
the tone.
not monetize it. Win or lose, I will continue to support this party, as I have done from its beginning. It has been my practice for 30 years to be doing this. So don't worry about somebody. If somebody wants to monetize the race, that's their choice. That's their choice.
But do you envisage that? Looking at the money that is flying around?
That is not my interest. That is not my focus. I have served this party loyally for 30 years. And all I ask is for a just reward, if they so choose.
Assembly members of the Nkranza North districts of the Bono East region are calling on the newly confirmed district chief executive of the area to work towards improving the poor road networks in the districts. They made this call after 26 out of 37 members of the assembly voted in favor of the president's nominee during a confirmation process at the assembly's conference hall. Correspondent Anas Sabit has been speaking with some of the assembly members and came through with the following report.
Some assembly members in the Nkranza North district of the Bono East region are calling on the newly confirmed district chief executive of the area to work towards improving the road network within the district. They say the poor road network of the area is largely hindering development of the entire district. Osenyamiche Binai is the assembly member for Boabin Fiema, Amiakrom and Yinahi electoral area.
When you come to Nkranza North, our major or main problem is our roads. The road network within the Nkranza North enclave is very bad. For the past 4 years, we've not had even 1 kilometer of asphalt. So we expect him to talk to his government to come out with contractors to be on the road soon as possible.
He further called on the DCE to lobby for the establishment of a district hospital, as access to healthcare has over the years been one of the major challenges facing the people.
We also expect him to get to the president in order for us to get our agenda 111. Nkranza North is a newly elected. We are just about 14 years or 15 years. So we are expecting him to go and lobby for us to get ours as earlier as possible, because in Nkranza North we are having 99 communities and we don't have a single hospital.
For the assemblyman for Juniho, Nipa and Asuti electoral area, Bada Kofi John, another major concern of the people had to do with poor educational structures, which according to him is affecting teaching and learning in the area.
Most of our communities are not having better education facilities, especially my community, our communities who are suffering from better classrooms. So we are also expecting the new DC to use his office to help people of such communities to get an educational facility that is in terms of a better classroom, so that we can also have our young one to climb the education ladder.
He charged the DCE to also work on extending electricity to other parts of the district to improve the living conditions of the people.
Since 1998, most of our communities that have electricity have not had any expansion or extension. So we are pleading on him to use this office to work vividly so that most communities who don't have electricity will have the level.
The new DC, Peter Oseifusu, who polled 26 out of 37 valid votes during the confirmation processes, promised to champion road projects coupled with other developmental projects within the Nkranza North district.
You're watching Joy News. Today ahead, we have business and sports. Stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Putting the spotlight on mental health today, it's estimated that poor mental health costs the nation 7% of our gross domestic product. According to chief caregiver at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Pinamana Pao, inadequate attention is given to mental health in organizations despite its negative impact on productivity. She spoke to Joy Business.
In general, the contribution to the national economic growth is actually influenced by its mental health component. And that we should also note that basically it depends on the various disorders. Studies have shown that loss of productivity from the two most common disorders, and that is anxiety and depression, cost the global economy about $1 trillion every year. And that's when you put the total poor mental health together, the cost to the world economy was actually about $2.5 trillion per year. And They've actually projected that this figure would rise to about $6 trillion in 2030. Some studies have estimated that about 41% of Ghanaians would have one form or the other of psychological distresses. And this 41% of the psychological distress actually cost us about 7% of our GDP loss.
Well, some more interesting stats for you. We are told that anxiety and depression is costing the global economy $1.6 trillion every year, whereas poor mental health costs $2.5 trillion. Away from that, timber contractors have been asked to abide by their contractual obligation to supply a percentage of wood products to the domestic market. Local wood artisans have complained of challenges in accessing lumber to meet the needs of consumers. Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, John Alote, observes failure of timber firms to supply the local market gives rise to illegalities such as chainsaw lumbering. He was addressing a stakeholders meeting in Sefirioso in the Western North region.
The domestic timber market has become a hub for illegal timber trade. Chainsaw lumbering has been associated with the supply of illegal wood to the domestic market. Municipal Chief Executive for Sefirioso, Louis Owusu Ejapon, observed local artisans in the Western North region have often struggled to get raw materials for their works. He appealed to the visiting Forestry Commission Chief Executive, John Alote, to help address the situation.
Day in, day out, they complain about raw material to do their businesses and operations. Most of the sawmills and the firms around, the legally operating ones, normally do for either external exports or local exports. And the artisans here find them very difficult to get the woods to do their activities. So if there could be a way out to make life a bit bearable for the local artisans and for local consumption too as well. But that is the genuine concerns they have also been expressing almost on a daily basis.
The Timber Resource Management and Legality Licensing Regulations 2017 gives the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, in consultation with the Forestry Commission, the power to direct a timber utilization contract holder to supply timber products to the domestic market with specified volume, dimension or species. The Forestry Commission says though it has in some instances allocated some compartments specifically to feed local wood demands, the contractors in turn divert the produce to markets in Burkina Faso and Mali. John Alote is the chief executive.
Most of you receive compartments, you receive concessions, and then it is clearly stated that you are supposed to supply, some amount of your products to the local, market, local carpenters, people who need wood. If they want to roof, they should be able to buy some of the wood. We have tried at some time to even allocate compartments specifically for people to produce to the local market. But what they do is that they produce to Burkina Faso and Mali rather than producing for our local people.
According to Mr. Alote, the practice of timber merchants failing to honor their contractual obligations promotes illicit wood trade. He wants a shift from the practice.
If all that we produce, we take them out of the region here, the chances are that those who need wood, who would not want to go to Kumasi or Angloga to go and buy wood, they would be impacting negatively on your resources. They will be cutting the trees, whether it belongs to you or not. They will be doing that. So we need to go back to what we said we would do. We have to supply a portion of the material to the local market.
From Sefirioso in the Western North region, Ohiminteria reporting.
Well, our top story on our website, myjoyonline.com, GMPC acquires 7% commercial interest in Jubilee and 10 blocks from Occidental Petroleum. We will be speaking to an expert at the top of the hour on the marketplace for some reactions. For now, though, sports is coming up next.
Thanks very much for joining us for Sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Ablai. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif, has reiterated the government's commitment to improving sports infrastructure in the country. Speaking to Joy Sports, Usif said the best way to develop talents in Ghana is to create a conducive atmosphere for their activities. When the Club Licensing Committee of the Ghana Football Association concluded their first inspection of facilities ahead of the new Ghana Premier League campaign, stadia such as the Baba Yara and Accra Sports Stadium were all rejected with the reason that they were not up to standard to host Ghana Premier League matches. Questions have surrounded the standards of Ghanaian sporting facilities. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif, says government is investing heavily in sports infrastructure.
As you are aware, we are working on the Legon Sports Stadium for the African Games. So government is investing hugely in sports infrastructure. We also know that the 10 youth resource centers are currently ongoing, which is under the National Youth Authority. Also, AstroTurfs are crisscrossing across the country. We have them in communities in constituency. We have more than 70 now, and we are counting. There are some still which are under construction under various agencies, and the ministry is coordinating to ensure that we get at least every district to have a very befitting sports facility.
Renovation works on the Baba Yara Sports Stadium started in March 2020, forcing Ghana Premier League clubs that uses the facility to relocate to other venues. Supporters of Asante Ikotoko and that of King Faisal are hopeful this is a year they could be using the stadium. Their hopes were dent a blow when the Club Licensing Committee rejected the facility. However, Mustafa Usif says the areas earmarked by the Club Licensing Board could easily be fixed.
Per the assessment we did at the Baba Yara Stadium, I personally visited the stadium with the AESL, the engineers, the consultants working with the contractor on there, and the field and everything that the consultant worked was satisfactory. But the GFA also had their own mechanism of satisfying facilities. So they have compliance issues. So the issues that they've identified are not things that cannot be ratified. So the Sports Authority will liaise with the Kotoko team to ensure that those issues that they identified not to be satisfactory are addressed so that they can use the facility.
The Baba Yara Sports Stadium is the home venue of Asante Kotoko and King Faisal. As of Oak Dio, Emmanuel Neite and Afri Bania are anticipating a difficult game against Wede Casablanca on Sunday. The Phobians will have 2,000 spectators in the stands to watch the game after CAF agreed to their request to admit supporters. But the players insist the game will be tough.
So far, I think it's been good. With our first game against Kamsa, we were able to overcome them by winning 2-0, and we are progressing. Now we have a much tougher opposition in WAC, but I think it's not too much of a hurdle to cross. We are going to do our best considering the training sections we've had, and with our technical team, I think everything is going the right way for us come Sunday. We are going to deliver.
Yeah, Bunny, you had a fantastic season. The two of you had a great season in the Ghana Premier League, and of course in the FA Cup. Have you forgot all of that, and your mind is straight on the job?
No, it's all on the job. Because what I did to gain that name last season, I think I need to do more. Because to have such a name, it's very easy, but to maintain it, it isn't easy. So I need to work extra and then maintain it or have more than what I had last season.
How did you see the first game? The first Champions League game, comes out. Did you see that?
Well, it was tough, but not too tough. It was God's grace, we were able to win and then we've progressed. So we are looking up for Sunday's game against WAC. I think that will be, as my brother said, tougher game. And then we also ready for them.
Good. Emmanuel, tell me, you've had quite a number of players joining you. Salim, Abu, Befi, plenty players, plenty Suraj and Co joining you. How's the camp like?
Yeah, this is one big family, the Phobian family, and any player that joins, we welcome that player with love. We show them the norms, the do's and don'ts in camp, so it's easy for them to quickly settle in, and they are quality players who are going to add up to beef up the squad for the coming season.
For now, with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. However, we've got more sports for you on myjoyonline.com/sports. As you can see, I gave my all to Kotoko to prove critics wrong. That is according to Kotoko's midfielder Fabio Gama. And Gama names Salih Fu, Ibrahim Agustin Boache, Glasson Awako, and Abdul Ganiu as GPL best players. However, he says he is the best player in the Ghana Premier League. The news continues.
Ghanaians condemn my hit song because it rebukes their hates for gays. That's according to a transgender artist, Angel Maxine, speaking on Prime Morning Show with Benjamin Akapo. She says people should not or should stop judging her because they fit in her shoes.
I feel that if you can't fit in my shoes, then talk about me. I feel that
can't fit in my shoes, don't talk about
if you can't fit, if I take my shoes off, I don't think they would like to fit in my shoes for even an hour.
Right.
Because they can't fit in my shoes. So I see it as, if you can't fit in my shoe, don't judge me. Don't condemn me. You should be able to understand what I'm feeling. And I'm not the only person like this in this Ghana or in the world. There are lots of people like me going through a lot of challenges. They are going through, every time I have somebody coming to me to tell me something different. And even me, I'm breaking now already. But I have to encourage them, to give them hope, to give them life. Because they feel nobody understands what is going on inside them. But I do, because I am like that. So to all the people out there judging us, thinking that we are devils, we are evil, we are outcasts, we are an abomination, and other things, fit in our shoes. Understand us. Get close. Don't judge us wrongly, because it's no fault of ours. So it's no fault of ours. We didn't create ourselves. Look, sometimes I see my brother and I cry. I see him and I cry because he has 2 kids. I see them coming every day and it hurts me because I can't do that. I can't be like him. You think I don't shed tears? Or you think I'm not hurt with the way I am? You think I'm not hurt with how different I look?
And that's it for show business. Indeed, that's it for Joy News. Today, log on to myjoyonline.com where we have more news. On behalf of the production team, we wish the head of our camera team, Modestus Zame, a happy birthday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday for another edition of Joy News Today.